The Arctic doesn't forgive. It doesn't forget. In the summer of 1940, when the first German bombers droned over the fjords like mechanical ravens, Nils Aslak was 14, knee-deep in the spongy tundra of Finnmark, coaxing a lame calf back to its dam. The air hummed with the buzz of mosquitoes thick as smoke, and the midnight sun hung low, painting the sky in eternal gold. Nils's world was simple then. The herd, the lavu, the joik his father sang to summon the winds. Eero Valkeappa was a Noiti, a shaman whose songs bent the spirits to his will. Tall and sinewy, with tattoos of reindeer antlers curling across his forearms like ancient runes, Eero could read the future in the cracks of a reindeer scapula or the curl of auroral smoke. "The land speaks, Nils," he'd say, his voice gravelly from pipe tobacco laced with willow bark. "Listen, or it will scream." Nils listened. He learned to track by the angle of a deer's ear, to predict storms from the way lichen shifted on boulders. The Sami weren't conquerors. They were stewards, migrating with the herds across borders that meant nothing to the wind. But borders mattered to the invaders. When the Nazis poured into Norway that April, Narvik fell in a hail of Stuka dives, and Alta became a forward base for Operation Silver Fox. Hitler's gamble to seize the Soviet nickel at Petsamo and throttle the Murmansk runs. The Germans arrived at Alta like locusts, their Feldwebels requisitioning every joiku, the herders' knives, and every spare reindeer for sleds. Eero bent but didn't break. He traded furs for whispers, slipping maps etched on birch bark to the Milorg underground. Nils watched from the shadows of the goatee, the family tent, as his father met with strangers under the cover of market days. One was a wiry man from Tromsø, eyes darting like a ptarmigan, who left with a carved amulet that hid microfilm in its hollow core. That autumn, the first blood spilled. A patrol from the 2nd Jeberg's Division, goatskin mountain troops fresh from the Alps, cornered a Sami elder near the Tana River for smuggling. The elder, Johan from Karasjok, had been ferrying Jews across the ice to Sweden, quiet runs under the guise of herd migrations. They hanged him from a telegraph pole, his body swaying like a pendulum in the gale, a sign, Judenfrei oder Tod. Nils found the body on a supply run, the elder's eyes pecked by ravens, and vomited into the snow. Eero's response was a joik, not of mourning, but of fury. That night, by the fire's glow, he taught Nils the Bavi chant, a curse to summon underground spirits against the Storabigu, the great evil from the south. "The reindeer are our eyes, son. Sáivu sees what men cannot." Sáivu was the white doe, leader of their 300-head herd, her coat like fresh powder, a lightning bolt scar from a wolf's fawn across her flank. She'd saved Eero once, in a whiteout, by nosing him to shelter. Now she'd be their sentinel. Winter clamped down like iron jaws. The polar net devoured the days, leaving 20 hours of twilight where wolves howled in chorus with the wind. Nils turned 15 in a blizzard, his gift a new gakti, the traditional tunic, embroidered with protective runes. But celebration soured when Oberleutnant Klaus Vogel commandeered their lavu for his headquarters. Vogel was a ghost of a man, mid-40s, one leg amputated below the knee from a French shell, his face a map of tick-like twitches under a perpetual scowl. He limped on a birch prosthesis carved by a POW, barking orders in guttural Deutsch laced with Norwegian profanities. "Reindeer for the Vaderland," Vogel declared, pounding Nils's family table with a gloved fist. "Your beasts haul my munitions to the front. Guide them true, Lap, or your Sáivu, your clan, starves. The Sáivu was everything, the extended family of herders bound by blood and herd. Refusal meant the branding, the burning, that rumors whispered of in the south. Eero nodded obeisance, but his eyes met Nils's across the fire. The shadows move. That night, as Vogel snored in the annex, Eero slipped out with a sack of salt, or so it seemed. Nils followed, snowshoes whispering. They met a shadow at the sacred Sáivu stone, a boulder etched with petroglyphs of ancient hunts. The shadow was Lars, the Tromsø contact, shivering in a sealskin parka. The decrypts confirm it, Lars hissed, passing a frozen packet. Silver Fox launches Spring 41. Rail spur from the coast to Petsamo. Explosives from Narvik. Eero tucked the packet into Sáivu's harness, the doe standing sentinel, ears pricked. Guide the herd east at dawn, Eero instructed Nils. Vogel thinks it's a forage run. Delivered to the Red Rock by Tana. Nils's heart hammered. The Red Rock was a Milord drop, 50 kilometers into wolf country. But he went, the herd a silver river under the aurora. At the rock, a gloved hand took the packet, another ghost, gone before Nils could blink. On the return, shots cracked the night. A straggling calf tumbled, blood staining snow crimson. Nils fired his father's old Mauser, the first blood on his hands, dropping a poacher-turned-collaborator. The man gurgled, "Whistling pays well," before dying. Eero never spoke of it. But weeks later, in February 41, the accident came. Vogel's men claimed a crevasse swallowed him during a blizzard escort. Nils found the body dragged to the fjord's edge, gutted like game, a bayonet's work. The official report, wild animal. Nils knew. Eero had joiked too loudly, a curse overheard. Grief forged Nils. At 16, he became Noedi by blood right, though the spirits tested him harshly. Visions plagued his sleep, herds thundering across fiery bridges, white does leading shadows to devour eagles. Awake, he herded under Vogel's eye, plotting in silence. The Beavet, the Sami whisper network, carried tales of others, Mikkel and Kadokino, whose son vanished for guiding refugees, Ellen Vadso, a sharp-eyed girl of 14 whose joik mimicked bird calls to lure patrols astray. Spring thawed the rivers, but not Nils's resolve. In May, as Silver Fox mobilized, trucks churning mud to the coast, a Halifax bomber ghosted over the fjords. Its cargo, Ingrid Larsen, SOE operative, dropped like a seed into barren soil. Ingrid plummeted through cloud-veiled night, her shoot a white bloom against the void. 24, Oslo-born, she'd been a typist in the heavy water plant at Vimwerk before the war, her nimble fingers now keyed to Morse. Recruited after tipping off the Milorg about a Gestapo mole, she trained in Scotland. Sten guns, sabotage packs, the art of vanishing. But the drop soured. Wind shear twisted her, scattering her kit across a bog. She hit hard, ankle snapping like dry twig, pain lancing white-hot. Crawling through tussocks, she cached her radio under peat, Sten at the ready. Dawn grayed the sky when Sáivu found her, the doe's nose cold on Ingrid's neck. Nils arrived minutes later, rifle slung, mistaking her for a trap. "Milord?" he whispered in Norwegian, accent thick as peat. Ingrid's blue eyes narrowed, pistol steady. "Code?" "The lights dance, but the shadows herd." She holstered, wincing as she stood. "The herd carries the storm." Eero's phrase from his last burst. Your father was a lion. This. She pulled the Enigma Intercept from her boot, frost-crusted. Rail spur timetable. Tana Bridge is the throat. Cut it, and Silver Fox chokes. Nils stared at the paper, runes of numbers dancing like his visions. Vogel watches. The herd's every step counted. Then we count shadows. Ingrid's smile was steel. Teach me your ways, herder. I'll teach you mine. Their pack sealed in a lavvu by the Alta River, fire hissing against damp hides. Nils joined a binding chant, invoking Sáivu, the thunder goddess, to veil them. Ingrid unpacked her kit, gel-ignite bricks, pencil fuses, a crystal radio that whispered BBC secrets. Over dried reindeer tongue and cloudberries, they plotted the first test, a forage, run to Laxelv, where fuel drums waited like ripe fruit. But the Arctic whispered warnings. That night, Nils dreamed, arrow, astride a spectral Sáivu, galloping across a bridge of bones. The white one knows the heart, he called, voice echoing like cracking ice. Nils woke sweating, the guasas pulsing green outside, a sign or a snare. June brought the Samian, the brief summer when the sun wheeled ceaselessly, banishing shadows but not secrets. Nils and Ingrid moved like ghosts in daylight, her limp masked by his arm, her blonde crop hidden under a lug-gin cap. The herd grazed on new shoots, oblivious to the packs Ingrid sewed into their harnesses, birch bark lined, muffling the gelignit's weight like a lover's sigh. Nils's days blurred, dawn muster under Vogel's glare, the Oberleutnant's monocle glinting as he tallied heads. 70 beasts today, Lap. To Kirkens by week's end. Kirkens was hell's doorstep, the port where U-boats wolf-packed the convoys, their conning towers breaching ice like periscopes from the deep. Nights belonged to the shadows. In the lavvu, Ingrid tapped her code, the radios buzz a mosquito whine. London confirms. Shipments from Narvik dock tomorrow. 50 tons P2. Plastic explosive, British-made, smuggled via Shetland skippers who'd fished these waters before the war turned them to smugglers. Nils taught her the land's tongue. See the Dobby, the high fells? Wind carves drifts like this. He traced patterns in soot. Follow the lee, or the gale takes you. She taught him timers, acid-eating wire, sparks kissing powder. 20 minutes from plant to pop. Enough to run, not enough to rethink. Their first shared vision came unbidden. After a joik lesson, Ingrid's voice cracking on the melismatic rises, Nils drummed the Goavi's rhythm on a frame of reindeer skin. The fire leaped, smoke coiling into shapes. A bridge spanning black water, girders groaning under phantom weight. Ingrid gasped, her hand clutching his. I see it too. Explosions, reindeer fleeing fire. Was it spirit or suggestion? Nils couldn't say. But it bound them, a thread finer than spider silk. The test run dawned clear, mirages dancing on the horizon. The herd, 50 strong, Sáivu at lead, pulled sleds laden with supplies, fodder above, sabotage below. Vogel's adjutant, Brandt, rode shotgun, a bull-necked SS man with a dueling scar like a pink worm across his lip. Eyes sharp, Lap. The Führer's eyes on us. Nils nodded, joiking softly to calm the beasts. Inland trails wound through birch scrub, away from the coastal road where panzers growled. At the first waypoint, a cairn by the Reparfjord, Ingrid slipped on loose scree, tumbling into Brandt's view. Help the Fräulein, Nils urged, distracting as she palmed a knife from her boot. But Brant was no fool. His hand snapped to his Luger. "What, Fräulein? You herd alone." Chaos. Nils lunged, tackling the man into snow. The herd milled, hooves thudding. Ingrid fired the Sten. Suppressed coughs. 2 rounds to the knee. Brant howled, clawing for his radio. "Run!" Nils yelled, but Sáivu charged, horns goring the SS man's arm. Blood sprayed Arctic fox red. They bound him, gagged with harness leather, and left him for the beavet to find. A message to collaborators. The fuel dump at Laxell was a Nazi hive, drums stacked like beehives, guarded by Wehrmacht privates nursing frost-kissed fingers. Under squall cover, Nils's herd. Straight, bells tinkling diversion. Ingrid slid hoses on 5 trucks, diesel gurgling into peat. Nils planted a charge on a magazine tent, small, to singe not shatter. The boom came at dusk, flames licking the sky, sirens wailing like banshees. Vogel's wrath was a storm. At Alta, he flogged Nils with a leather crop, welts rising like red rivers on his back. "Sabotage! Your beasts wander like Jews in the desert." But proof was smoke. Brant babbled of ghosts, dismissed as fever. Word rippled through the Saida. Mikkel, grizzled herder from Kadokino, arrived with his remnant herd. 120 head, son avenged in spirit. "Arrow's boy leads. We follow." His eyes held ghosts. His boy, Tomas, shot for a border cross. Then L, slipping in like a willow switch. 16 now, Vadsoborn, with braids like raven wings and a laugh that cut tension like a obel. Orphaned by a Stuka raid, she apprenticed as a seamstress, but her needles now stitched death into packs. "The rads of it," she declared, coining the name. Shadow herders. No leader but the herd, no flag but the aurora. Their second mission, a convoy intercept near Hammerfest. Soviet spies needed Enigma keys, traded for vodka and kasha. The herd carried them across the Lingen line, the Nazi, Atlantic Wall, of the north, bunkers squatting like trolls. Ingrid's radio called a trawler rendezvous, but patrols swarmed. L's Joik, a bird mimic, drew a sentry into ambush. Nils's knife ended him, the first clean kill without tremor. Summer waned, gnats yielding to geese skeins. Visions intensified. Nils saw Ingrid in firelight, her past unspooling. Oslo girl, skating the fjord, then factory drudge under Quisling's boot. A lover lost to Sachsenhausen, his letters ash. "I fight for the dead," she confessed one dawn, tracing Nils's runes. "You? For the living and the unborn." Their hands met, sparks unspoken. But Vogel tightened the noose. Intercepts buzzed. Sami unrest. He decreed herd roundups. Collaborators paid in rye. Mikkel's Sáivu burned, the old man escaping with singed beard. "The bobby rises," he growled, joining fully. As leaves turned blood orange, the Tana loomed in plans. The bridge, a steel leviathan, 300 meters of imported girders, anchoring Silver Fox's vein. Guards, 100 Jebergsjager, Edelweiss eagles on collars. "We need the full Saida," Nils said, mapping on hide. Ingrid nodded. "And the spirits." Autumn's grip was velvet over iron. September rains turned trails to quagmires, the herd's hooves sucking mud like reluctant kisses. The shadow herders swelled. Whispers from Inari brought finished laps with snow knowledge. Swedish exiles with dynamite from Kiruna mines. They mustered at the sacred Avni Lake, waters black as ink under overcast skies. Nils led the Noedi rite, drum circle, smoke from sacred herbs, Angelica and Rowan, curling invocations. El danced the Gosa, feet stamping rhythms to wake the earth. Mikkel chanted border songs, his voice a rumble of thunder gods. Ingrid watched, cross-legged, her sten across knees like a talisman. "Your magic, it's real? Real as your bullets?" Nils beat the frame drum, skin taut as hope. The aurora answered, Guavsa's unfurling emerald banners, veining the vault like Sami arteries. Visions cascaded, the bridge aflame, reindeer swimming rivers of lava, a white doe crowned in stars. Energized, they struck smaller blows. A U-boat pen at Sáivu, charges in fish barrels towed by stray calves. Boom, pens flooded, 3 subs scuttled. Retribution, a village razed near Laxelv, 40 souls to the pyre. El wept for cousins lost, her joy turning dirge. Vogel's paranoia peaked. He installed wiretaps on Lavis, Alsatians patrolling with handlers, who spat on Sami caps. Brandt, leg healed to a limp, hunted personally, his scar twitching with hate. "The Lapwitch and her white devil," he snarled. Posters offering 500 Reichsmarks for Nils's head. Ingrid's backstory bled in fragments, shared over Gaka flatbreads by firelight. Oslo, 1939. Student protests crushed by national Samling thugs. Her brother, Eric, a communist printer, vanished into Grini camp. She joined the XU, the student spy ring, forging papers for Jews fleeing east. Betrayed by a lover's slip, she fled north, parachuted in on Arrow's signal. "The bridge is for Eric," she said, voice cracking. "For all of them." Nils shared his own scars, not just Arrow, but the Almont, the great hunger of 37, when overgrazing and taxes had the herd. Visions had saved them then, Sáivu leading to hidden pastures. "The WW2's," he murmured, stroking her flank. Sáivu nuzzled Ingrid, a rare grace. October brought the first hard frosts, rivers sheening ice. The plan crystallized, full herd assault on Tana, New Moon's Eve. 800 reindeer from Allied Sida, packs laden, 200 kilos explosive, fuses daisy-chained. Routes scouted, high passes veiling approach, Ciadia's beacons. But betrayal lurked. A quisling, Harold, a distant cousin bought with flour, sold whispers to Brandt. Patrols thickened, snares on trails. Mikkel's scout vanished, presumed dangling from a gibbet. The night before muster, Nils's vision shattered him. In trance, drum echoing, he rode auroral winds to the bridge, girders alive with serpents, Brandt's face grinning from the central pylon. Sáivu charged, horns piercing, but Ingrid fell, bayonet, blood freezing midstream. Nils woke screaming, the lava reeking of burnt herbs. "Tell no one," Ingrid soothed, bandaging his fevered brow. But doubt seated. Was it warning or doom? Muster dawned white. Herds converged on the Alta Delta, a thunder of bells and lowing. El distributed packs, her fingers nimble shadows. Mikkel blessed blades with spit and ash. Ingrid keyed final burst. Storm herded. Lights dance. London. Godspeed, shadows. They moved at dusk, a mile-wide phalanx splitting fjords. Sáivu led Nils and Ingrid's van, sled whispering over crust. El flanked east, Mikkel west. The Pitarack wind rose, katabatic fury from the Alps, veiling all in white roar. 50 kilometers in, first clash. A forward post, fires sputtering. Nils signaled halt. The herd bunched in ravine. Els Bola, weighted gut cords, felled a sentry. Nils's Mauser silenced the cry. They pressed, wind howling benediction. Dawn's smear found them 20 clicks out, the Tana's growl audible. Guards patrolled the span. Machine nests, searchlights probing like blind fingers. Nils dreamed the vision again, awake, Ingrid's fall. "Change the line," he urged. "I lead the plant, you cover." "No." Her grip iron. "Together." The bridge was a colossus, steel veins pulsing under sodium lamps. The Tana below, frozen serpent, cracks like lightning scars. Brandt's company, 120 men, bunkered in, stoves belching smoke. Vogel himself inspected that eve, monocle fogged, stump-thumping planks. "By Yuletide, Petsamo falls. The Bolsheviks bleed." Nils's herd crested the ridge at midnight, new moon of void. The Pitarack peaked, visibility nil. Joiks muffled low, calming chants weaving winds howl. Sáivu pushed, nose to snow, pack shifting uneasily. Split, Mikkel's wing fainted south, bells clanging diversion. Stampede. Gunfire stuttered, screams cut short by L's shadows. Nils's corps crossed north, belly crawling the final kilometer. Ingrid checked timers. Acid vials bubbling, 20 minutes to kiss. Disaster at the abutment. A boy sentry, Hans, Bavarian farm lad, 18 and shivering, lit a Glühbirne cigarette against cold. Flame bloomed. Sáivu's scar gleamed, Nils's outline etched. "Halt!" "Feigned!" Mauser cracked. Hans fired wild, bullet whining girder. Alarm klaxons wailed. Reindeer panicked, lowing thunder, packs ruptured, gelignite tumbling like dice. Nils dove underspan, shoulder clipped, hot iron bloom. Ingrid Sten chattered, stitching snow, dropping too. "Plant the heart," she yelled, reloading. Nils crawled pylons, fuses hissing serpents. Brand emerged, bellowing. "Der lap! Totet den Hexer!" His Mauser spat. Nils rolled, shrapnel peppering. Sáivu charged the line, horns reaping. One gutted, another trampled. The herd surged, living ram, hooves shattering ice, packs detonating premature pops that showered sparks. Elle appeared, Bola tangling a gunner. Her knife flashed, throat opened. Nils reached the central pylon, the vision's maw. Gelignite wedged struts, wires spliced. Brandt loomed, scar livid. "Your father's work, witch boy!" He begged before the blade. Rage surged. Nils fired, grazing the SS man's arm. "Flee!" Ingrid dragged him, leg wound seeping. The herd wheeled, smoke screen of dust and steam. Timers ticked. 5, 4. Brett rallied, grenades arcing. One burst near Elle, shrapnel raking her side. She fell, joint gurgling blood. Boom. The pylon buckled, girders screaming like damned. Flames erupted, orange hell against black, the Tana erupting in steam geysers. 80 meters vaporized. Rails twisted like gutted fish. Silver Fox's artery severed. Pursuit, skis hissing, tracers lancing. Mikkel covered rear, his herd a wall, 20 beasts down, but Germans bogged. Ingrid faltered, sled tipping. "Go!" Nils hoisted her, Sáivu's training double. El's body marked the snow, a red angel. They hit the border at false dawn. Soviet scouts, Farhaded, Kalashnikovs ready, hauling them in. Vodka burned wounds. Balalaika strummed victory. London confirmed, delay months. Convoys sailed free. But cost, 60 reindeer, mickle-winged, El gone. Nils mourned by Sáivu's side, the doe's eyes holding stars. Winter 43 ground on, the sabotage a thorn in Berlin's paw. Retaliation scorched, the branding of 44, when the Red Army pressed, Nazis torched Finnmark, 40,000 homes ash, herds driven south to starve. The shadow herders scattered, but didn't break. Nils evacuated with remnants, Sáivu's anchor, guiding 200 souls to Sweden's Inari. Visions guided, auroras mapping safe passes, arrows ghost joiking paths. Ingrid, legs splinted, keyed reports from a mobile set, her broadcasts, weather for the BBC. In exile, bonds deepened. By Sami campfires in Lapland, Nils drummed tales. Ingrid shared Oslo dreams. A free Norway with fjordside cafes. Their first kiss under WW2's, green lights veiling blushes. "Shadows hurt us now," she whispered. Vogel hunted to the end, stump failing in snow. Captured near Narvik, he spat at Nils. Primitive sorcery. Trial in Oslo. Hanged as war criminal, monocle shattered. War's end. V-Day echoes faint in the north. Nils returned to ash fields, rebuilding Sáivu with Soviet aid, tractors for plows, but hearts yearned reindeer. Sáivu calved twins, white as hope. Ingrid stayed, wedding Nils in a Gakti ceremony, rings of reindeer sinew. They raised a daughter, Ayla, who joyed storm silent. But ghosts lingered. El's grave by Tana, marked stone. Mikkel's tales in Kadokino's school. The herders faded to legend, beaded whispers. Nils, graying, drummed by fire. The land remembers. Reindeer carry the storm eternal. In the great tapestry of WW2, Arctic threads gleam faint but fierce. Here, herders wove defiance from lichen and light, their saga a joke against oblivion.